Welcome back to Weed Talk News. I'm Alaina Pinto, and this is the B Block. This is the second of three parts of the full news show that is available to be watched in its entirety on the homepage of procannabismedia.com. As we continue our coast to coast coverage of the fight for change to the federal cannabis laws. In the state of Maine this week, the governor there, Janet Mills, has signed into law an opportunity for those who have criminal records for nonviolent cannabis possession to apply to have those records sealed. So past offenders can now petition the court system in that state to have those records sealed. And now critics are saying it does not go far enough if the objective is to expunge the past records. Sealed records keep that information from the public, but it does not destroy the records, which is what expungement is all about. They also criticized that this law still puts the burden of a legal process on the people with convictions who now have to apply to the state's judicial system to adjust their past records. Maine is the 25th state to take action through legislation, and that helps with those with past cannabis convictions for crimes that are now legal. As we continue with our state reports, we check in with our California correspondent, Alaina Vassau, who has been documenting the challenges facing the growers of Humboldt County. Here she is.
Alaina Vassau from the Bay Sesh reporting for PCM with this week's California report for Weed Talk News. The epic weekend of April 20th has come and gone, a fleeting moment in the struggling California cannabis industry, which also falls right around tax season. And if you're in the cannabis industry, you're always struggling to collect and pay the astonishing amount of taxes associated with a legal licensed cannabis operation. In addition to the high cost of licensing and keeping up with the moving target of code enforcement, there are cultivation canopy taxes, manufacturing taxes, and sales and distribution taxes, as well as excise taxes to collect and pay. And the federal tax expense to any cannabis operation is higher because since cannabis is still federally not legal, operational costs cannot be expensed. It was reported in December 2023 by the California Department of Tax and Fee Administration that 15% of cannabis operators, including retail, are in default of their taxes, totaling over 180 million in default. And more than 15% of the cannabis retail licensees are in default of more than $54 million. In Sonoma County, California, the Sonoma County Growers Association has pushed the county to reduce some of their canopy and manufacturing taxes, of which an amendment is being presented and anonymously voted for, where the taxes will be reduced on cultivation and manufacturing, but then added to retail sales. Also, the excise tax is expected to be going up from 15% to 19% this year. Still, according to the Cannabis Business Times, it's looking like in Sonoma County, they will be coming up short again this year. Because even with all of these taxes being collected, in many instances like Sonoma County, the government's operational cost to regulate the industry is costing more than it is paying off. I'm Alaina Vassau from the Bay Sesh reporting for PCM with this week's California report for Weed Talk News.
There are two stories from Michigan this week. One is a story that continues to be repeated in legal and illegal states. It's what to do with hemp-derived THC-A. The Michigan Cannabis Regulatory Agency reminded its licensees to remember the accepted definition of hemp versus Delta-9 THC cannabis. There continues to be confusion in the regulatory world since many manufacturers have figured out how to grow hemp with under 0.3% THC and still give people a buzz. This was the whole point of the Farm Bill of 2018 that gave farmers the green light to start growing the plant cannabis sativa, but limiting the amount of THC to under 0.3%. Delta 8 has changed all that, and manufacturers figured how to qualify as hemp when measured and tested in dry weight with 0.3% THC. And then when it becomes ignited, it becomes THCA. That has the psychoactive effect that gets you high. The unregulated CBD and hemp markets have created products that are sold at convenience stores and gas stations who are not supposed to be able to sell to people under 21, but since there is no one to regulate or check or even enforce that, We'll tell you later in the C block of the show. PCM founder Jimmy Young actually visited a distributor of these products in the Massachusetts area. So more on that. The second story is about an edible product that was calling itself Hot Dots and looked like the candy created by Tootsie Roll. So the Tootsie Roll company wrote a cease and desist letter to the manufacturer of the Pot Dots and the Lion Labs based in Michigan. They claimed a copyright infringement on their candy product that are called Dots. So after receiving that letter, the Michigan manufacturer changed the name of his popular edible product and renamed it Pot Pots. So Pot Dots is now Pot Pots. I like it. Not sure if they've made their way to Ohio yet, but that market is almost ready to launch their much anticipated adult use program. And Harry Bernstein has more in his Ohio Cannabis Report.
This is Harry Bernstein with Verde Compliance Partners and the Ohio Cannabis Report for Weed Talk News. Ohio's long-awaited adult use cannabis program is on the fast track to becoming a reality. So let's bring everybody up to date with how we got here. In November 2023, Ohio voters overwhelmingly approved a ballot measure that legalized the growth, sale, possession, and use of cannabis for adults aged 21 and over. The new law, which went into effect in December 2023, allows adults to legally grow and consume cannabis on private property. But the real game changer is the requirement that the state develop regulations and implement an adult use program by September of this year. And the good news just keeps getting better. Under the leadership of Superintendent Jim Canepa, the Ohio Cannabis Control Commission has proposed regulations that would provide a fast track for current medical cannabis licensees to obtain an adult use license. This means that many of Ohio's existing medical dispensaries could start serving adult use consumers even sooner, with State Representative Jamie Callender stating that stores could be open by July 4th. This is a truly exciting time for cannabis in Ohio. With overwhelming voter approval, swift implementation of the program, and opportunities for current operators, the future of adult use market looks bright. Responsible adult consumers will soon have safe, legal access to high-quality cannabis products, while the state will see an influx of jobs, tax revenue, and economic growth. Ohio is positioning itself to be a national leader in the cannabis industry. So stay tuned, Ohio. Your long-awaited adult use cannabis program is about to become a reality and sure to be a game changer. That's the Ohio Cannabis Report. For Weed Talk News, I'm Harry Bernstein with Verde Compliance Partners.
Now we go north of the border to Canada, where Health Canada has recalled some recreational products from British Columbia due to microbial contamination. The product is called Purple Gelato Punch and was produced by Sirona Pharma. Debi Facey has more from Canada.
This is Debi Facey with the Canadian Strain of the Week. So what we have in Canada this week is a recall from BC due to a microbial contamination found in some of the random testing. And this is found in the Purple Gelato Punch, produced by Sirona Pharma. And it's under the Full Sesh brand. This is something that we have been noticing, especially when it comes to their labeling and when it comes to actually what is inside most of these products that they are putting on the shelves. Unfortunately, that is something that we are going to have to deal with, but cross my fingers, we get some sort of grip on the whole situation. Next, what we have is McGill University, which is located in Waterloo, Ontario. They have been doing a study and they've been finding and trying to find ways to persuade the illicit market. So obviously to diminish the dealers and to promote the stores. This is something that obviously many of us are speaking about, but they have not found a way to really come to terms with the aspect of it's just always going to be more affordable. It's sad to say. Not beneficial, but affordable. And until that happens, there's no control. And last but not least, which is a great thing for us here in Canada, is the Greenway Greenhouse Cannabis Corporation has gotten the accreditation, as well as accreditation certification in order to now produce and sell cannabis internationally. This is something that is obviously another plus for us, but it gives us more of a jump when it comes to obviously the science and the research that's going behind it and the importance to have that as well. This is Debi Facey with your Canadian Strain this week. Peace.
That wraps up our second section, or the B block of Weed Talk News. Next up, C block, with reports from Washington State, Missouri, Oregon, and Massachusetts. Don't go away, or check out the full show available now on procannabismedia.com.
It's a whole new world of weed out there, isn't it? Everyone is learning new ways to titrate, ingest, consume, imbibe, and engage with this plant medicine we call cannabis. Now, let me tell you my cannabis story. You know, I've had 4 major surgeries in the past 23 years and suffer from osteoarthritis with a variety of metal parts in my body and one on deck. Now, thanks to those chronic pain issues, I've been a medical patient in Massachusetts for almost 10 years now. I remember my first trip to a dispensary just outside of Boston, and I told the bud tender I didn't want to smoke it anymore. So I tried edibles, then tinctures, then vaping, and now if I'm going to smoke, I only use the Weedgets filtration system. What? The Weedgets.com, Weedgets, that's weed, W-E-E-D, G-E-T-S.com, is where you'll find the planet's coolest product that cools the smoke from everyone's favorite flower. The guy that started this was a pretty good medical device manufacturer, and he created this maze pipe that cools the smoking process from 1300 degrees Fahrenheit upon inflammation down to just 90 degrees when it reaches your mouth. That's right, 1300 down to 90. That's why this maze pipe is amazing. Now, add in the code of PCMTV and you get 15% off. So just go to Weedgets.com and check out the best way to enjoy a cooler smoke with less coughing and hacking and more peace of mind.